This is a presentation of the final project entitled Occupational Stress in Law Enforcement Officers. This paper is written by Tiffany Coulombe for the purpose of the Phoenix Police Department's Organizational Leadership Cohort through Northern Arizona University. This presentation marks the end of the class and serves as a visual representation of the class's final paper. Law enforcement officers are exposed to stressful events more often than other workers, and this can result in impaired psychosocial well-being and physical health. This inherent stress can cause physical problems, mental health issues, and post-traumatic stress, PTS, as it is more commonly referred to. Untreated stressors can develop into unhealthy coping skills, leading to life-altering consequences. As you see here, the focus of this paper is on alcohol abuse, depression, and suicide risk for law enforcement officers. Police officers find many ways to cope with the daily stressors that they are exposed to throughout their career. The police culture has inherent stigmas which for years have painted law enforcement officers as invincible and infallible. However, officers struggle internally with the daily rigors of what policing endures. One such way officers dull the experiences of the shift are to drink alcohol. Alcohol consumption is legal for those of age, yet can have a proclivity for developing a dependency. Some reasons for that can be seen here. Another issue impacting law enforcement officers are the consequences they are faced with when dealing with daily stressors and trauma over time. Policing is one of the most mentally taxing occupations, contending with long and often rotating shifts, threats of violence, increased need for hypervigilance, and a lack of public support creating chronic stress. After any given amount of time, the buildup of all this stress can lead to post-traumatic stress. As you can see, several things contribute to an officer developing depression. Police officers must witness some of the worst that humankind can offer and can experience the most brutal of scenes. Officers never know what call will come over the radio next, and some nights it can be horror after horror. The death of children, gruesome car accidents, overdoses, abuse, sexual assaults, school or public shootings are just some of the worst kinds of things that police officers can be exposed to. This hopelessness can lead to a need to release that pain, and for some, that may be suicide. One startling statistic you can see here is that in 2019, 239 police officers committed suicide, as opposed to 89 line-of-duty deaths, including felonious and/or accidental deaths. A lot of police officers fear that they will be unable to perform their duties if they are deemed to be mentally unhealthy. This potential varies depending on the state, but it should never stop any police officer from getting the help that they need. Law enforcement officers have one of the most mentally taxing and physically demanding careers. Law enforcement officers are prone to develop an increased risk for unhealthy coping habits and behaviors, which can have a negative impact on their career and their personal lives. Substance abuse, including alcohol dependency, depression related to extensive trauma, and suicide risk are all potential outcomes law enforcement officers are faced with as a result of occupational stress. For any law enforcement officer that may need resources, they are out there. These resources were found simply by using Google. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my presentation. Be safe, and thank you for what you do every day.